Hello children, I hope you all are good. So today we are going to discuss the different and very interesting topic of social science, that is the Constitution of India. And in this chapter we are going to discuss about the rule of law, why do we need the constitution and the laws, what are the fundamental rights for us, and how the laws and dissents work. So let's start the chapter with the rule of law. If in a one line I am going to tell you rule of law, it means everyone is equal in the eyes of law. See beta, man is a social animal who live in the society along with the many people, community, etc. And they are governed by a set of well-defined rules and regulation. We all are governed by with the particular rules and regulation. The rights and duties of a man towards his fellow citizen, towards his society, towards his country, that have made some rules and regulation. So they also dictate the political structure and the function of different organs of the government. So in a brief we can say the set of rules and regulation and guiding principle which is laid down in orderly or systematic manner, that is known as the constitution of a country. Means in a short, the book of law, set of rules and regulation which is going to give you the advice how to govern the country. For good governance, we are required the clear guidelines, clear principles, clear rules and regulation, formation of the government, structure and power of the government, the rights of the people, responsibility of the citizen. What about the judicial process and many significant matters that should be clearly specified, because these all are going to affect our country. So it is here that the requirement for what? That is the rule of law. We need the rule of law. See, no society can function in a systematic manner without laws. How to instruct the citizen? How to govern the citizen, how citizens are going to action with the sanction channel. We need to provide them specific principle and law. According to James Madison, if man were angels, no government would be necessary. But we are not angels, we are not gods. We need the government, we need the guidance to govern. But laws are required to limit man because he is also a human and fallible. Democracy is a system where we all are equal before the law, in which rulers are elected by the people and the elected representative, they are going to take the major decision for the people, and the people are ruled by the constitutional setup. So we should also keep in mind that at the time of independence, India was very backward. There was so much evils prevailing in the Indian society. Social inequality was there in terms of caste, color, creed, wealth, gender or religion. India's legacy of caste or social hierarchy has long impacted on women especially. When determining the women's status, they are subordinate from the birth. Social tradition and the religious norms sanction many social evil against the women. Female infanticide we have seen, female feticides we have seen, dowry practice we have seen, domestic violence we have seen, girl child marriage we have seen at an early age. So there are so many evils or so many discrimination prevailing in the society against the women. A century ago, 972 baby girls were born for each 1,000 boys. See the ratio, that is the sex ratio, very low female child. At present the figure is 933. Today though we are in the scientific era, in the modern era, so this should be increased, but this is going to be decreased. Yeah, of course at some place it is increasing, but still there is a need to increase the female increase the sex ratio. The Indian Constitution is the longest written constitution in any independent nation, that you must know. It is the longest and written, both longest written constitution, and it consists of how many articles? 395 articles, 12 schedules and 3 appendices. इतना lengthiest constitution है इंडिया का. Now we were discussing about the different discrimination prevailing in India about the women. So now here is a dowry system. It is another serious social event leading to the suicide and bride burning. If a boy and girl are equal before the law, then why such a condition prevailing in the family which discriminate the women or the girl child in the society? Why the cash or the kind? During the time of marriage, the bride has to provide and the bride family. Although paying and acceptance of dowry has been illegal in India, but for more than 40 years, this oppressive custom still persists in Indian society. Official estimate shows that every year almost 7,000 women were killed just by their spouses because of inadequate dowry. They need more and more dowry in cash or kind. So in this regard, the case of Nisha Sharma, we have heard in 2003, a software engineer, she was a software engineer, is worth mentioned. Nisha called off her marriage at the 11th hour when the bridegroom and his family made last minute and extravagant demand for dowry. She not only cancelled the marriage but even called the police and had the bridegroom arrested. Because at the time of marriage they were asking for the dowry. So she has taken the step against the dowry system. She not only cancelled, called the police, and this shows that we also need to strengthen ourselves. We also need to use the effective laws to curb the anti-social practice which perpetuates the myth of male supremacy in the society. So all these and many other social and economic problems collectively ask for a rule of law. So such types of the law we need in the society to provide the equality. The basic value enshrined in the constitution. The constitution of every country is based on certain ideals or certain basic values. So in our preamble also there are basic values given to us. Technically the preamble is not a part of constitution. It is, you can say, the introduction. It is an introduction to the prelude which is going to highlight the guiding principle of your constitution or bedrock, you can say. So what has written in our constitution? Our constitution, obviously inspired by the preamble to the Constitution of United States of America, make the following declaration. What we have seen written here: we, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into, now see the ideals, sovereign. It means that we are free from outside control. We are independent. We can take our own decision. Socialist, everyone is equal to the society, equal distribution of resources. Secular, no discrimination on the basis of religion. Democratic, the people's rule is here. Republic, elected head and written constitution is here. Justice, at social, economic and political level, every Indian is get the equal justice. Liberty, we are getting the liberty of speech and expression, belief, faith and worship. Then another base or ideal of constitution, equality. Equality of our status. Every opportunity in the society should equally provided to everyone. Fraternity, assuring the dignity of everyone because it is showing the unity and integrity of the nation. That we are living in the peace and harmony, living as a brotherhood. So in our Constitution Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact and give ourselves this constitution. So these were the basic or the basis or the ideals of the Indian constitution which we need to adopt, which we are adopting, which are very, very essential for the development of every citizen of India. So the constitution as the primary source of all laws. values that motivated and directed the freedom movement and were in turn nurtured by it form the foundation of Indian democracy. Because through the national movement, we have struggled a lot for our independence. We have seen many faces, and that's value motivated us, directed us. Okay, now these values, these bases should be there in our constitution. The Indian constitution provides a framework of lawmakers and gives direction to the policy maker also. It lays down procedure for choosing the person to govern the country. The constitution also put limits to the power of government. Not a single organ of the government can enjoy unlimited power. There is a check and balance form. If anybody is going to violate your fundamental rights, you can directly approach to the court. Nobody can violate the law easily. There are 6 basic principles which are embodied in our constitution. That is sovereignty of the people. Means people, the source as well as the repository of all power, have the supreme right to make decision on internal and as well as the external matters. No other nation, no other state are going to interfere in our matter. No one can dictate us. We can take our own decision. We are free from outside control. Fundamental rights, they are not only giving the freedom to the individual person, but they are also going to check the misuse of the power by the government. So while making the law, we have made the 3 organs of the government also. We have made the law, the legislature is supposed to keep these rights in the mind. Then after fundamental rights, what other primary sources are given? That is the directive principle of states, which are the guidelines for the states, that how to govern the particular region, how to remove the backward of the society. It is a duty of the government at all levels to frame their policy in the light of 3 principles. So directive principles are the guidelines for the state. Judicial independence is the most important feature. Our judicial system, judiciary is free, independent. It makes it possible for the Supreme Court to safeguard all these ideals. If any government, any parliament pass any rule which is in against of these fundamental values or basis of the constitution, Supreme Court then and there can declare this law is null and void. Means unlawful. So Supreme Court or our judiciary is powerful and they can declare any illegal or unlawful law that is in against of the constitution. Now federal form of Indian constitution divides the power in between the center and the state level government. That is the federalism, where we have adopted 2 tiers of the government. Our constitution specified the different subjects for the different tier, different level of government. For example, union list, in which the subjects are mentioned, on those subjects only and only center government can make a law. For the state list, whatever the subject mentioned here, only and only center government can make a law on this list. And then third list also specified in our constitution, that is concurrent list. In concurrent list, whatever the subjects are mentioned, both the center and state government can make a law. But if there is any conflict in between state and center, then whatever the center says, that will be adopted and accepted in concurrent list. So this is the federal structure has been given in our constitution. Then after that, parliamentary structure we have adopted, and this is a parliamentary form of government, constitute the president and the 2 houses of the parliament, Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. Parliament is the highest law making body, legislature of country. It can make or enact the new laws and change the existing ones also. So thus constitution is a fundamental document which defines the position and power of 3 organs of state. Legislature means lawmaking body. Executive means implementing those laws. Judiciary for interpreting the laws, protect the laws. Every law enacted by government had to be framed in the conformity within the constitution. If a law is made by parliament or state legislature violate any provision of the constitution, so I have told you judiciary declared it invalid. So now moving to the laws and dissent. Laws are generally obeyed for punitive reasons, out of fear of the penalty. है ना, why we are going to obey the law? If we are going to not obey the law or violate the law, तो judiciary will punish us. So penalty के डर से हम law को accept करते हैं. Then for example, people tend to drive within the speed limit for fear of being fined heavily by the traffic police. But the laws made by the government are always in favor of the common man. Always the common man is going to obey or accept the laws whatever the made by the government? No, quite not possible. Sometimes there are dissent, there are protests in against of the government laws also, which is not good for the common people. Here is one excerpt has been given to you, Salt Satyagraha, the foremost example of dissent where the Mahatma Gandhi has dissented the law which was made by the British, that they have put the high tax on the essential good on law, salt, and as well as the Britishers said that there is a monopoly on manufacturing the salt only and only of Britishers. It means the Britishers can make the salt, the Indians are not allowed to manufacture the salt, and moreover high tax has been imposed on the salt. So this law was not accepted by the Mahatma Gandhi and he has started the Salt Satyagraha, that is also known as the Dandi March, and he along with the 78 followers started his march from the Sabarmati ashram, traveled 210 miles, and on 2nd March 1930 Gandhi ji first, before starting the Dandi March, he has written the letter to the Viceroy Irwin. At that time Viceroy was Lord Irwin. He has written, and letter mein what he has written, I regard this tax on salt to be the most inethics of all form of the poor man's standpoint. So he has written this letter. Okay, if you are not going to take out and you are not going to stop this law, taking out this law once again, back this law, what I will do, I will start the movement in against of your this law. So on the 12th day of the month, I shall proceed with the such co-worker of the ashram as I can take to disregard the provision of the salt law. Means he had given the clear warning that this law is not good for the common people, you please draw back it, but not. Viceroy Irwin not done. So what Gandhiji did? On 5th April 1930, Gandhiji picked up a small lump of the natural salt at Dandi, thus violating the law. उन्होंने law को violate किया. There he made the manufacture the law with the help of Dandi coastal village people. So this is the dissent against the law made by the British government. Same as there you can say in the modern time also many protests and dissent if the people are not liking the law which is not in their favor. Now anti-liquor agitation you can see. Anti-liquor agitation in independent India carry forward the legacy of Satyagraha established by Mahatma Gandhi. It was due to the Gandhiji effort and teaching that prohibition has made included in part 4 of the Indian Constitution under directive principle of state policy. What has been written? Eradicate the social evil of alcoholism. People are having the habit of taking the alcohol. So all the 5-year plans have given special stress on this prohibition of alcoholism. So the protest against this liquor law can be considered as a dissent, because when there was a wine shops were there, so women they started to protest. You can see this women protest against the liquor shop, wine shop ke against that. This is the dissent, means whatever the law you have made, we are not going to accept it. Then it does not protect the citizen fundamental right. The women said health care beside violating the directive principle which recommend the prohibition of consumption of alcoholic liquor. So women are severely affected by this as their domestic life gets disturbed. So the following incidents of anti-liquor movement in 1993 is a right example of fighting against the laws by following the path of Satyagraha. And you can say it is the example of dissent, protest. Now, despite poverty and illiteracy, life was normal in Pathar and adjoining the village of UP till 1989, when a country liquor shop was opened there in April. Then the women life began worsened and they approached to the Saharanpur district administrator to get it closed. The administration promised to do the needful in the next auction, but it failed. So on March 31, 1993, what women did? Women set on an indefinite dharna that you can see in the picture, and that is the clear protest against the government law. And finally, they were successful in raising the issue before the governor, who visited the city on June 29, and the governor ordered there that the shop should shut down, and it was ultimately closed on July 2. Now, after dissent, there is another feature, that is the laws as evolving and changing. Laws is necessary for the protection, and for peace, for development, for prosperity of any country. Without law, there cannot be any order. It will be the jungle raj. So, without order, there can be no peace, no progress, and the people are going to start fighting with each other. So, time is not static, it goes on changing. So, our constitution maker has written, there can be the subject which today we cannot see, but after the passage of time, there can be the different social, economic, political changes in the society. So, there is a need that the constitution should also amended according to the need of our. So, provision of amendment in the constitution is also given there, that is known as constitution amendment. Okay, the Indian constitution, being supreme law of the country, play a significant role in determining the authority of the law. So, the founding fathers wanted to be a living legend and living documents, adapted documents rather than a rigid framework. That's why they had given constitution can be amended with the passage of time if there is a need. So, Indian constitution is one of the most frequent amended constitution in the world. Apart from determining the structure and the machinery of the government, the Indian constitution also remains the touchstone for determining the bad laws. It is not merely a statement of values and philosophy, rather it is a living document embodying these values. Hence, it is constantly evolving, a dynamic crate, and you can say it's a collection of beautiful thoughts, blueprint to shape the future where we shall attain our goal, we can get our dignity, we can attain our goal for forming just means we can be the egalitarian or equitable society we can form. So, that is the good part of the Indian constitution, where they have provided the each and every basis which is needed for the development of the citizen and the good governance of the country. So, let us discuss the important point of the chapter. The constitution of countries lays down principle dealing with the structure, formation, power of government, rights, responsibility, etc. The preamble of the Indian constitution ensured justice, liberty, equality, fraternity to its citizens. The prejudiced social system and the vast economic disparities made it mandatory to have a written set of rules and regulations to maintain the equality in the society. At the time of independence, people of India shed the status of subjects to become full-fledged citizens of country. So, we have adopted few ideals, sovereign, secular, democratic, republic, etc. Not all laws advocate the welfare of the citizen. Sometimes our laws are not good or accepted by the people, so people started to dissent, to protest. For example, the liquor law. So, that is, as a result, affected families fight against such harmful laws. So, that's end for the chapter. I hope you understand each and every topic. Please do the exercise carefully.